Awesome. It says it started. Do I believe it? I don't know.
Let's trust the spirit. Let's trust the karma and the cosmic energy. Please bless
Please,
us.
I beg of you.
Whatever's out there, just
Just
give good
listen,
energy to this,
please.
please.
I see you. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me. It's me, Shell, bitch.
Hey, gente! Welcome back to another week of the It's Me, Shelle podcast. And remember, my job is to make your road to Friday a lot easier.
So, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you are, mi gente. I hope you had an amazing start to your week. And as always, thank you for tuning in and sharing your Monday blues with me. And this week, we have an amazing guest. She's a writer, a poet, a film critic, author, feminist, right? And a fellow funny gal like me. So please welcome Jay.
Hello. Hello, Michelle listeners. Hello, hello.
Hey, thank you so much for joining me
Hey, girl.
today. I really appreciate it. It's a Sunday,
Thanks
there's a
for
six
having me.
hour difference. Of course. Of course. I know you have a lot of things to do today, so we're going to get right to it.
All
So I'm going to call this segment the icebreaker segment, just so people get to know a little bit about you. All right. So this week we're talking about funny women in comedy, and yes, that includes ourselves. Although I'm not formally trained, I don't know if you are, but
right.
my life seems to be comedy all the time. So
Oh yeah, baby. Tell me about it. If by formal training you mean my dad and I exchanging jokes, then yes, I am. I mean, I've been trying to be my dad all the time. Like he has the greatest sense of humor, dark, cynical, like weird, standoffish sense of humor that makes people kind of like go, okay, is he joking or is he just laughing at us or what? So me growing up, I always wanted to be, yeah, I'm gonna be Salah. I'm gonna be this guy.
yeah.
So put it in a woman, and people are like, why? Why you should be cute? And I don't know how to be cute, man. Sorry. I tried growing up.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. Seriously, I knew it. So yeah, this is the thing.
Oh, I love it. See, but you're right. A lot of people are always saying, well, women, like you should be dainty and you should be quaint and you should be quirky. And I'm like, I'm completely the opposite.
God.
I'm I'm
No,
clumsy.
total respect for these awesome women. Just not me, not Jay. It's not me. It's just not
Right.
me.
Same here. So before we get into who, we like as comedians, I want you to let the people of the It's Me podcast know a little bit about yourself. So where are you from, Jay?
I'm from Egypt, Alexandria, Egypt.
Oh, you're eclectic, girl. You're
Yeah.
different.
I try to be honest. I try to be all my life. It just follows me wherever I go.
Oh, I love it. How were you born there? Do you still live there? Or
Definitely, definitely. I'm a small town girl at heart. I've been in Alexandria all my life. Just moved to Cairo, the capital of Egypt, a few times to work and stuff, but I'm still in Alexandria, and this has been part of my writing as well.
and we're gonna get into that because your poetry, girl,
Seriously,
I
amazing.
love it. But we're
Thank
gonna get
you.
into
Wow.
Yeah, I love it. So, how did you realize that comedy was something that you really enjoyed? I know you mentioned your dad, and growing up, he was always the jokester, because you would be surprised that not everyone likes to laugh, especially here in New York. I'm from New York, everybody's mean, mugging all the time. So,
Yeah.
how did listen, it's terrible out here. But how did you realize that comedy was something that you enjoyed and you wanted it to be part of your personality?
Okay, let me tell you something. Here, you're supposed to be a certain kind of woman. Even if you're laughing, you should laugh with respect, with being conservative. So for me, I always wanted to push the status quo, especially in my family. Like for me, I would just look at my dad and feel like, I could be my dad. I'm gonna do this. So all the women in the family would be like, oh, Jaylan, just zip them, sit straight, do this, do that. You shouldn't So for me, it was always this. It was always gonna be this, and I'm gonna be copying my dad's jokes, just trying to see what the guys are laughing about, and I'm gonna say it. And I found that people were laughing. So it wasn't such a comedic environment, but I think for me, part of growing up with my sister, especially, we were always just hanging around. We were so close. We would like to make up stories and stuff when we were little. So I would be the funny one, and she would be just reacting to me. So I think I just wanted to break or shake the family. Just seeing them all sitting there, women acting this way, men acting that way. We're very traditional, like a middle class family. So for me to just break this mold, this is what made me love comedy. Yes, we loved comedy movies. We would watch a lot of comedy, especially, like where I come from. Comedy movies are the best, especially at the time of the 90s and 00s. But still, to be the comedian of the gathering, this is something else. So for me, I wanted to be that girl. I just wanted to be it.
Oh, I love that. So I'm Dominican. I was born and raised in New York, but my mom and my dad are from the Dominican Republic. And there's this saying in Spanish, and it goes, "Calladita te ves más bonita." And what that translates to is, if you're quiet, you look prettier this way. And that kind of reminds me of what you said, like, oh, don't laugh too loud and keep your mouth, zipped, and don't say too much and just be cute, be pretty, let people admire you. But you're right. I was always the opposite too. I was like the very annoying, like my laughter is so annoyingly loud sometimes. And then when I was younger, I found myself trying to kind of make it quiet. So now my laughter is like this weird squeaky thing that's very loud. And I
Yeah.
really do enjoy it because it's kind of obnoxious sometimes. But I totally get where you're coming from, because I also wanted to break the mold, and I would like to say I'm like the funny one in my family, especially like at work, everywhere I go, this is my personality. So I definitely get where you're coming from, girl.
I
I
totally understand. Wow. I had this feeling that we connected on this level, seriously, because I mean, it's so hard being, and people would expect you to be a certain way of comedic person. Like, okay, don't be, yeah, yeah, you're funny, but don't be too funny. And I've met it even with guys, like I would be there and the guy would like me because, my features kind of gave off a certain vibe, especially back then. I was always the cute girl, a little bit plump face, hair always straight and stuff like that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
for him to see it, he would be like, "Oh, she's so cute," and then it'd be like, "Ah," or be like cracking a joke, or just making fun of him because it's like awesome. Because I'm making fun of myself, man. What about you? And he'd hate it, and then he'd be like, "No, no, no, not Jaylan, please. Let's find some other quiet, lovely girl and stuff."
Oh
And
no. But I think
yeah,
that you can't really be funny without making fun of yourself. I make fun of myself all the time. And I had this one person once tell me, well, I think the reason you're doing this is because there's something wrong with the inner you. And I said, there's nothing wrong with the inner me. The inner me wants to come out, and that's the funny girl. Like, oh, well,
this
because you're
is the thing.
right, putting yourself down. I'm like, I don't see it that way. It's just I'm making fun of my own misfortunes, and that's fine.
You're doing this because you're sad. The pickup line the Egyptian guy say is you're sad. Your eyes are sad. And I'd look at the picture he was referring to, and I'm like, where is the sadness, bro? Seriously, where did you see it? Wow. And I once told one, you should be a psychoanalyst, dude. You're so smart. How do you get this? But oh my god, change your career. Are you serious? You're just discovering sad girls along the way. Hoo hoo for you. I love you.
Your sarcasm is by far the greatest thing I've heard this morning.
Girl. Seriously, seriously, they're like picking them. Are you looking for them? Okay, good luck for you, not me, bro.
Right.
Not me, buddy. And I pat
Right.
him on the shoulder, like a good old grandpa or something. Like, ooh,
Sorry, bud.
yeah,
Better luck next time. Oh,
nice
well, listen,
babe.
everything here in New York is rough, and that includes comedy. Okay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Comedy is just very rough or very vulgar. And I have the sense that you kind of enjoy that comedy, especially growing up with your dad. You enjoy that comedy. So, and I think that it's helped me get through really tough times growing up, and I'm definitely grateful for that. But I wanted to ask, have you ever thought that comedy would be like part of your career one day?
I hope. You know,
Okay.
okay. So for me, my 20s were a mess, were a train wreck. So I didn't find myself. I stayed away even from writing. I worked boring jobs, had shitty relationships and stuff. But now I'm kind of like claiming my own narrative after help with my sister and therapy and yoga and stuff. So now I'm like, why not? Come on, you can write a funny book. You can have a show. I don't know. Now I'm trying to give myself the vibe that sky is the limit. So yeah, if you asked me this question a year ago, honestly, I would tell you no, 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 not me, and I'd be like more like yeah, subdued and stuff. But now I'm telling you, well, maybe I hope so, and I hope
Yeah.
maybe we can have something together. Man, girl, this would be just.
I know. Listen, there's something happening here.
I totally
Something's
agree.
brewing. Something's brewing because I feel the same way. And I totally get where you're coming from. And I always talk about this. Way before I got married, I was in this terrible relationship where I wasn't myself
Yeah.
and I hated it so much. It didn't make me happy. I was like this dark cloud and I was kind of like a robot. I did what I had to do for like me and my kids, got up, went to work, came home, and I did nothing else. And then just kind of be a slave in this relationship, just really enslaved to my relationship.
Yeah.
And it was a terrible time. And if you would have asked me, I want to say like 5, 6 years ago, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Who are you? I would be like, I don't even know right now. So I understand where you're coming from. We tend to
Mm.
lose ourselves. So I do like that you're saying that, yeah, I should be, because that's what I'm telling everyone now. I'm just like, no, I really do enjoy comedy and I might just do something with it. Why not? You only live once and we should
Me
just give it a try.
exactly, exactly. I'm gonna try it. Yeah. So now, absolutely, I would tell you maybe one day. Hello.
All right. I'm so excited. Well, I think comedy is subjective and I find myself funny because it's me and I tell others this because I don't know. So people either find you really, really funny or they look at you and you're like, we don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I know you touched on this a little bit already because comedy is different all around the world. But comedy in Egypt, how would you describe it?
Well, okay. Now I don't think really need a comedy revival now. But if you ask me, like the '90s, especially, it was a great time for comedy. Back then, even it was an amazing time for comedy because we've had the best comedians. You have no idea. Like of all the Arab countries, if you talk about Egyptian humor, it's the best of the best, seriously. And I wish that one day there will be like more translated Egyptian comedy movies because they're hilarious and they're just crazy. And we have the greatest comedy actors. They're just awesome. They're funny, facial expressions, attitude. You have all sorts of comedy, and it's I don't know. I love the comedy scene here. It's hilarious.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Well, you already know the comedy scene here in New York is, I mean, it's great. Have you ever been to New York? Have you ever been here?
Oh,
No.
bucket list, baby. Bucket list.
Okay, good. Good. And when you do, you have to let me know so we can go to
Are
like
you serious?
a
No,
show.
you gotta take me. You gotta take me on this comedy trip, and it's on you, baby. It's a responsibility, and you should do it.
I know we will go like on a comedy show spree around the city for the weekend.
Yes, yes, please. I'll just go, and I'm in for all experiences. You have no idea. So I know I have Michelle. Great, awesome.
Absolutely. You
Now I know.
you got me.
Yeah, I
So,
got you, girl.
right. So I've been reading your poetry and let me tell you, amazing. Okay. And from what I've read, you write from a very personal place, like very close to your heart, and also from a place of like observance. You really take everything on around you and you like develop these really elaborate stories that is poetry. And you do an amazing job of just like describing what you're feeling, where you are to us, well, to me, the reader, because I literally, while I was reading your stuff, I like put myself where you were and I was like, oh, this is immersive, expressive. What's happening
Wow,
here? It was
wow,
very
wow.
immersive,
Thanks.
I will tell you. And growing up, my best friend and I, we were into theater, drama, all this stuff you can think of, the arts. So I dabbled in writing poetry, but I didn't go as far as he did. He likes to write all the time. And reading your poetry took me to a place where I used to be before when I was young. And I'm like, oh my God, maybe I do want to write again. This is beautiful.
You
I
do
just
it.
wanted to throw that out there, girl, because it's amazing. It is
Oh wow.
amazing.
Really, I can't. don't know how to tell you. Seriously, to think now that for a certain time in my life I stopped writing altogether because I was in a relationship where I was gaslit for 3 years. My partner gaslit me, so I couldn't even write because it was something the partner didn't approve of or just kind of like broke you into pieces and you didn't find that voice. So the time I found my voice again, I think 2020, I was crying because where was this? It was always inside of me. So to hear you say this is just means a lot to me. Seriously, thanks, babe.
Oh, no, of course. I loved it. Do you ever think, although you do have like some comedy within, like you do say something, oh, that's witty. I see what you're doing there. But do you ever feel like including comedy a lot more within your poetry?
I hope so. Yes, definitely, definitely. Thanks for saying that. I would love to do that.
Yeah, because I
Sure.
can definitely see like kind of like comedic poetry from you. You're just really good at expressing and describing things. And I was just like, oh, she would be really good at this.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Wow. Seriously, this would be a dream of mine. I'd definitely try it because it's awesome. Something I love, and now that I hear it from you, wow.
Put it
Okay.
together, just meld the worlds together.
Ugh, goosebumps. Seriously. Thanks, Michelle. Seriously. Now I know I have Michelle on my back.
Yeah,
I can go this road. I won't be afraid.
absolutely. I'm here. So, comedy and poetry is a great segue to talking about the famous funny gals of comedy. And I want to start because so we spoke about a couple of them and we'll go over them. But I'm going to start because you said you'd never heard of her. And she reminds me a lot of like you, what you're doing, and only because she's a funny girl in the industry, but she's also a writer and an actress, and her poetry is amazing. And that's with Michaela, I think it's Cowell or Cowell, I'm not sure, but she's a writer and an actress. And I learned about her from this BBC show because we both, of course, enjoy BBC comedy. It's called Chewing Gum, and
Shit.
listen, you have to. So she's like this naive adolescent girl that has like a very religious upbringing, and she enters into adulthood and she tries to figure things out, and she's obsessed with Beyonce.
Wow.
It is it is like the funniest thing I have ever watched. I want to say in my entire, like, she is so genuinely funny. And I think she also has a show on HBO. It's called I May Destroy You, which I haven't checked out yet, but
Wow.
she's also a poet and she's so passionate. And I went down the rabbit hole, and a lot of her poetry, I'm telling you, when I was listening, because she likes to read out her poetry a lot of the times, but it reminded me of you with your written poetry. So
Wow.
I think
Dude,
you should
this is
definitely
so
check her out. But
I
she's
have
great.
to. I have
She,
to, but I have chewing gum on my watch list. Seriously, after you told me, I gotta Google her and like, okay, Michelle's
yeah,
right. I gotta watch this.
yeah, she's
Wonderful.
really, really
Thank
funny. Yeah, she's amazing. So, do you have any funny, like one of your or many of your favorite comedy gals? Tell me.
Okay, Issa Rae, seriously, because okay, the moment I discovered Issa Rae, I was just talking to my friend Brian, and I was just obsessing over Sex and the City, and he's like, "You gotta watch more diverse shows," and I'm like, "Okay, Brian, you just tell me what," and he told me Insecure, and okay, hear this, I'm at work, on a break, and I just go, okay, let's just watch Insecure. And the first episode, man, I want to be this woman.
Yeah,
I just want to be. I want to meet her. Who is this girl? Come on, and I'm obsessed. And I take my sister, and we are like binging watching season after season because we just love her. We idolized her. She's so
yeah,
funny, and she's so awkward, and she's so female, and she's so her. There's nobody like her at all out there. And so for me, she's
absolutely.
one of my favorite comedians. Wow.
Oh, I love her. So I don't know if you knew, but she started off on a YouTube series and it was called Awkward Black Girl. And let me
Yes, and
tell
I gotta
you,
watch this.
you have to because it's so relatable. You're right. Like everything about it is relatable. It's like this girl who goes to work every day. She, falls in love or has partners, and they all put her in like these awkward, uncomfortable positions. And I feel like that's her entire personality, even in Insecure. Like she's just like in these awkward, uncomfortable positions where she's just like, all right, well, what do I do now?
Exactly, or she says something stupid or just acts weird, and I feel so connected to her because like I really. When I was little, I was obsessed with all the beauty queens. I'm gonna call them beauty queens of their romantic rom coms and the chick flicks of the 90s. Okay, and I love, of course, Nora Ephron and stuff. But you feel like there is this distance between you and this girl. Yes, she's awkward and but she's too nice, or she doesn't say the stupidest thing ever. What about you? You would be like just having your face in a way, or just saying the craziest poem, and someone just takes a video and you find it online, and someone who shouldn't see it just watches it. It's exactly Isa. This is the girls I'm looking for now. I'm looking for women who had similar experiences to me, but they're like living far away. They've had different culture, different background, but still we are so connected, maybe more than a woman who is my colleague or something. So
Right.
this is Isa for me. This is her for me.
Yeah, no, you're right. She's amazing. And talking about connection, this is going to be a weird one, but this is only my connection because I'm a mom. And in one of the movies I watched her in, she's a mom. And I feel like that would be me when I'm older. And you
Wow.
mentioned you liked her too, Barbara Streisand.
Oof, oof.
Oh,
Love
not
it.
only is she
I love her
beautiful,
so much.
not only is she beautiful, but can I tell you, I don't know if you've ever seen Meet the Fockers.
Yes, I've seen Meet the Fockers. Are you serious? This is gonna be you? Wow.
Yeah,
Michelle, you have to be my friend.
I am going to be the eccentric, hippie, retired lawyer who is now a sex therapist. And her humor is just so matter of fact. And I would definitely be the mom who like embarrasses their children. But at the end of the day, it's just so much love. It's like, you can't even be mad at me. I love Barbara Streisand
I
in that
know what you
movie.
mean. Oh my gosh, I love her so much more now. I love her
I
so
love her.
much. I love her as an icon, as a singer. I love her everywhere. She's amazing. I love Barbara,
Yeah.
and I love, of course, Funny Girl because Funny Girl. First, because I still remember to this day the first day I saw Funny Girl. I was at my grandma's house, and we were like, Omar Sharif is now on the screen. He's Egyptian, and everybody reveres him here. He's dead now. So I'm like, wow, and who's the girl with him? Look at her. She's not like leading lady. She's not typical. I'm sick of seeing people looking alike. So for
Yeah.
me, every time you see someone who looks different, who acts different, who gives you this vibe that you know this person, you could be friends with this person, I'm in. So for me, seeing her in Funny Girl, it just made me look at her. She doesn't fit with the dancers, with those dainty, lovely girls just dancing. Look at her being funny and being it out. And I love, of course, confident women who are like just going out there with their personalities, with their looks, with their vibes, with their energies, with their strength and their grit. And oh, I
I
love
know
them.
I love it too. It's so loud. Like even like I feel like just our interaction here, I feel like you walk into a room, everybody has to turn around. They're like, "Oh, this girl's coming." Like we don't know who she
Yeah.
is, but she's coming. And there's nothing wrong with that because it's just like positive vibe, positive energy.
Oh,
It's just
thanks.
something about like what you
But you,
exude, and I think that's amazing. And Barbara Streisand reminds me of like she can walk in any room and I'm just like, okay, she's about to do some crazy stuff right now.
yes, and you're sitting on the edge of your seat. Like, huh, what are you gonna do?
Right.
Yes,
And no matter how awkward it makes you feel, you're just like, yeah, I think I would do the same thing.
exactly, exactly. Oh, but the thing about having this personality that exudes, whatever vibe when you get into a room, that you meet two kind of people. People who are like looking at you, and there are the energy vampire suckers who are like waiting to just, whoosh, and you feel. So this happened to me more than once. So now I'm more aware of my surroundings, and I try to protect my energy. Like try to go behind the radar, and then you see like someone like saying something, and I'd be like, yeah, or just laughing with like at a party or something, and someone would just say something stupid or pretentious or snobbish. Someone would be passing it like, look at this loser,
Right, right.
and we just crack jokes, and then the energy shifts in the room, and it's Jay all over again. So I know what
Right,
you mean.
right.
It got
And
me into trouble a lot.
it's okay, but it's okay because I feel like girls like us, we always get into trouble for no reason. It's just like we're just being ourselves and
Yeah.
we're into trouble. But I agree with that. You do have like these energy vampires that just do not like you to be who you are. And growing up, I heard a lot, oh, well, you know what, Michelle, just always has to be the center of attention. She's always showing off. And I'm like, but I'm not. This is really who I am. I had one girl approach me a very long time ago and tell me, well, you don't have to put on like an act. You don't have to pretend. It's okay. And I'm just like, pretend? Like, girl, you have no idea. This is just me at
That's
10%.
just me, baby. Yeah, you gotta see the rest. I'm telling
Right.
you.
Right. You're experiencing me at 10%. Trust me, there's a lot more here.
Well, and if you get them, baby, trust me, you wouldn't be standing on your two damn stinky feet. Yeah.
Exactly.
So for
Exactly.
me, I'd go on with the bullets, and I'm
Right.
trying
You
to
just have
hold
to
it
keep
down.
going.
Like,
Yes.
oh my god, I totally remember. Oh, I hope I'm not steering off topic again. I totally remember this. I used to embarrass my high school friends like all the time. Like she would have a crush on this hot guy, and we had this guy we would take, like private lessons and stuff with. So she had a major crush on him, and I'd be like, every time he just enters, I'm like, and then do this, and she's a very girly girl, conservative, but she was my best friend at the time. And I'm trying to laugh. Come on, why? And she's like, who told you I want to laugh? I don't want to laugh about it. I just want to look at him and just appreciate him. And every time he was a good guy. He was just he aced every answer. Damn him, I still remember it to this time. So he was just like smart, hot, and hardworking. And every time he'd just say the right answer, I'd go to her like, I look at him and like, and I think I just weirded him out. And this was not her intention. Every time, and I once just pumped him too. And she's like,
Right.
"Why are you acting like this? We're dudes. We're girls. We shouldn't act like this." I mean, but it's funny. I just want to make friends with the guy. Damn it!
Right.
I never had him.
No, and I think that a lot of women do that. Like they're afraid to approach a guy. And I think I discussed this on one of my podcasts, or I was a guest on somebody's podcast, and we were talking about how like it's very hard for guys. Well, I guess it's a little different in Egypt because, men are manly men and they approach the women. But over here, it's kind of like a mix. And men are always like, well, we don't want to approach all women because we're afraid of rejection. And I'm just like, well, that's silly. I think if a girl likes a guy, there's no reason to be like, hey, what's up? How are you? What are you doing? Oh, you have a wife? Okay, bye. Forget it. Like
This is the
there's,
thing. This is the thing. Ugh.
there's nothing wrong with that. And so for my, like, I want to say, it was a bachelorette party. My very good friend and I, we went to Vegas, and it was an amazing time. We were at like this club, and one of the guys comes up to me and he's starting to talk to us. I'm like, listen, we're here for bachelorette party. I'm getting married in like 3 days. This is not what we're out here for. We're just having fun. And he turns over, he's like, oh my God, I'm here for my best friend's bachelor party. He's like, and he was very honest. He was like, well, I'm looking for a girl. And I'm like, well, you're not. You're looking for the girl at the wrong place because I'm not her. And
I
he
see.
ended up hanging out with us, with my friend and I, and he brought all his bachelor friend, like the guys that were at the bachelor party, they brought over.
Oh,
And when I tell you, we were the center, it was like we were doing comedy stand up with a lot of music playing in the background.
oh,
And before they all left, they said, you girls are the funniest girls we've ever met. He was like, the girls that we met in our entire trip were so nasty and snobbish and just looking for something, looking for money, looking for a handout. Like, but you
oh,
girls were so down to earth. And he was like, he goes, and Michelle, the way you let me down was beautiful. You didn't make me feel insecure. You didn't make me feel bad about myself. Your husband is so lucky to have you. And when I tell you, girl, I was like, oh, that's so nice. I was like, because I don't like to be mean. I'm just a very funny, all around happy girl. So I'm just like,
yeah.
really? He said, yeah. He's like, you guys really made our Vegas trip like a fun Vegas trip. Because other than that, the girls out here were just so mean to us. And it really,
I don't know what to do with girls like that, but this comment, well deserved, girl. Seriously, your husband is a really lucky guy. I'm telling you, Michelle's husband, you're a lucky man. Okay, watch out.
listen, it was a great, and that to me, that feels great because I don't want guys to look at me or look at you and be like, oh, there goes that pretty girl. She's probably snobby. She probably doesn't like to talk to people. Meanwhile, we're like, hey, how are you? How's your day? Like, not everything has to be sexual. And a lot of women here in New York, it's like everything for them is very sexual. Oh, that guy wants to talk to me because he wants something from me, or meanwhile,
Yeah,
he's just asking you, how's your day? It's just a conversation. We're human. There's nothing wrong with that.
exactly. Oh,
They
I
just
mean,
make it
I've
too
always,
much.
probably because of the, I know what you mean. For me, I've always been, I think, in circles where women were intentionally, they just want to be kind of like what you say, like, okay, we cannot show. Like for me, I would just like a guy and I'd be like, I like you. You're hot, you're cool. And they're like, no, 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 no. It doesn't work this way. You have to be cunning and sneaky. And I would see girls all around me doing tricks to get guys when I would be like, you know what, wanna hang out, wanna drink something. And
Right.
I think this this was also, but it was mostly kind of like an obstacle to me because I saw a lot of girls just acting out and putting on this frontier and stuff, and kind of like guys liking it, and me just looking like Jay who just wants to crack jokes and say something that shouldn't be said now, or just say like make say something gross when women are like pretending to eat. This is Jay kind of like gulping her coffee and taking donuts from someone. So yeah, I think I've met a lot of the pretentious stuff. It just doesn't work for me. When I was gaslit, of course, in the relationship when I was gaslit, trust me, I was pretentious as hell. I had to delete all my photos from this time because for me my hair was always straight, my eyebrows were always thin, I was always like smiling like this and putting on makeup. It wasn't me, something was missing. And now that I know, yes, it was the essence of being me. This is why I wasn't writing. Now that I'm thinking, yeah, this is why you were not writing, because you weren't yourself. So now that I reclaimed myself, I'm like out there and just seeing whatever the universe throws at me. So yeah, I totally get it. But these women, I think for a certain time in my life, I thought these women kind of like were having it because, I don't know, something was happening in this relationship thingy, and nobody gave me the manual. I was like,
Yeah.
someone gave every woman on the planet a manual, but not me. Why? Why was this acceptable and this not? But now I'm just chilling about it. Like I don't need a manual, man. Let me
Right.
write my own manual. First of
Right.
all, you suck. Second of all, yourself.
Right. You'll figure it out as you go. And you know what? You did say this already that you kind of relate to Melissa McCarthy, especially in Bridesmaid. And I
Yes.
can see it. I can see it. You're very like, yeah, whatever.
They're like, wanna hang out? And he's like, no, serious. Are you sure? And in the end, you're relenting. So yeah, I totally get it.
Right. No.
The
And
same
she's hilarious in Bridesmaid. And I don't know if you've ever watched, I think it was Identity Thief. Also,
Oh, I love this movie.
also very, very funny. But she's another one who doesn't, along with Issa Rae is also very vocal about, yeah, I thank myself because I'm funny. I put myself in the front line and this is who I am and I'm not apologetic about it. And that's one thing that I do love about Issa Rae. I remember one time she received an award for something and she stood up and she said, yeah, I want to thank myself because
This
I
is
did
the
it.
thing.
Yeah,
And you know what? I feel like a lot of people hate it when women say that. Like I totally remember also Shonda Rhimes when she was kind of like receiving an award or something, and she said, like, okay, let's be honest, I deserve this. It's like women should always be like, thank you. I never thought. What about if I thought I would make it to you guys? I just want to celebrate myself. Like, what, the guys can say it and we can't? Why? Because we're women. We're always supposed to be like nice and stuff. I know I deserve this. I've made it this far because I was there for me. I pushed myself. So this is what I like about these women. They're unapologetic about their success and they don't feel that they owe it to anyone but themselves. So yay
exactly.
them.
Exactly. And that takes a lot of, for me, that takes a lot of courage because when you're in that industry, it's very male dominated. It's kind of, it's a lot of like chauvinistic behavior. So for a female to stand up and say, yeah, no, I want to thank myself because without me, this wouldn't happen. It's amazing because a lot of people, you're going to get backlash. Everyone likes to talk. So a lot of people are going to be like, oh my gosh, she's so full of herself as she should be. She worked very hard.
How shouldn't she be? Come on. Do you have what she has?
Exactly. Absolutely. So she should be full of herself. It's amazing what she's doing. Okay. So my last, I want to say funny one, and you kind of mentioned her. So Nora Ephron.
I love Nora Ephron so much.
And for a long time, okay. So growing up, I used to watch a lot of like rom coms, and I love them. But then once I got like, I can't romantic comedies. I'm like, oh, I'm so over them. But Nora Ephron had like this way of making females use their femininity as something funny. And she did kind of make them like quirky and kind of witty, kind of like You've Got Mail when you think about that,
Yes,
or like Bewitched, like very quirky, very funny, very
exactly.
sarcastic. And that's what I loved about her writing.
And you know what I love too? First of all, I think there are tons of rom coms that we love from our childhood or from. Wait, what year were you born? When were
I
you
was born
born?
in '86, girl.
1988, 80s girl. Oh yes, baby, it's
Yeah, we're '80s
1988, baby.
babies.
I can feel the vibe. I swear. Whenever I feel like I see the new ones, the 20s, I like pat them on the shoulder and then I'm like gone. The 30s, okay, you're with me. This is welcome. Whenever I think my friend Brian, he just turned 30. I love him, and I'm like, what I wrote to him was like, honey, welcome to my club with Samantha Jones, and he's like, I think he scared the dude, and he's like, honey, welcome to my club. Finally,
Yep.
you're 30. Away 20s. I can't stand 20s anymore.
Welcome to your 30s.
I feel
My
the gap. So
20s
yeah,
were also a disaster, so I get it.
totally,
My,
totally. This is the thing. Up for 80s kids.
yeah, I every time I see like
I think we're
young,
all like that.
no, it's true. Every time I see young kids, I'm like, it gets better.
Trust me, you will. You'll reach your 30s. You'll understand. You like it. You like it.
Right.
So
It
for me,
gets,
yeah, I think we're just so we were so into these rom coms, these 90s rom coms. They were amazing. They were awesome. Nora Ephron stood out. Why? First of all, I think because she was a really good writer. If you read her nonfiction books made me want to write essays about me, about femininity, about what I thought of myself and my body and stuff. I thought she was so talented. She was just beyond the genre itself. This, first of all, and second of all, you could feel all the small details, the bits and pieces that made her stand out. Like the character in You've Got Mail, for example. She's just not this beautiful, quirky blonde who didn't know what to do. No, she was also a girl attached to her mother and how her mother's death affected her, and how having a small business as a normal person did in front of capitalism and all these big businesses. There were when there was this amazing text that she sent the Tom Hanks character in the movie where she's like, I'm my life. When I read something, I feel like my life is not in a book. Although it should be the other way around. Like she's been reading all the time and feeling like she relates to characters in books, but not to people in real life. Shouldn't she change? So you feel as a small town girl, this hit me so hard. Like, wow, yeah, maybe you lived a small life. She says I lived a small life, but it was also significant, at least to some people. So yeah, you feel like there are some themes that make these female characters different. Although they might be in the middle of, all these rom-coms that we were fed when we were little, and now some of them, yes, they passed the test of time and some just didn't. But Nora was different because Nora was a real talented woman.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And there was so I saw You've Got Mail once I was older. I didn't see it like when it first came out initially. So people would always make references to the movie, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But I do appreciate the fact that I saw it when I just later in life because I did understand it. And you're right. You have like this female entrepreneur, like it's very difficult. It is hard. She's like trying to sell herself, trying to sell her business. And also, right, she has family, her mother passed. It's just like she's dealing with so much as a female, and she's still very much happy go lucky, funny. And I feel like that's just how we are. We're like, all right, we're
Totally.
going through stuff, but you know what? We got to keep moving. We can't let this keep, if anything, it makes us better.
Exactly, this is the thing. And I got my comedy and I got my poetry and I got people like Michelle who on another part of the planet we just connect. So what more do I need? I just need this energy and I can do whatever. I'm gonna do a lot of stuff and Michelle is gonna do a lot of stuff and we're gonna uplift each other and I don't know. This energy, I live for this. I kinda
Oh,
live for
thank
this.
you. Yeah, no, no, no. Especially when you go through hard times for so long. Once you get this type of feeling, you're like, okay, this is a great high right now. We have positive vibes all around. In a negative world, we're filled with positivity. And I think that's really what keeps people like you and I going, or, people out there who act like us, who have the same personality we do. It keeps us going because we just can't be like all the time.
What we have
Yeah.
here is something that we put out in the world. I hope I'm not talking too much because I love to talk things.
No,
Please
girl,
tell me when I'm like babbling.
not at all. Go ahead. You're good.
What I believe is, yeah, maybe I am not, like such a famous writer. Maybe I will never be. Maybe I won't have my comedy show, which I really hope I would someday. But what I have is this thing. I had a podcast with Michelle. We talked about comedy, and it's out there in the universe. Nothing can change this fact. I have this small book. I have this poem. I have blah blah blah. These things just, I think, they make the world a different and a happier place, at least for me. During dark times, I can go back and get this back and smile and say I made this, so yay
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're doing what you have to do to make sure you reach your ultimate goal. And even if you don't, you still had fun, in the process of it. And who knows, maybe that's just a lesson we were supposed to learn. Like, this is it. So I always think that my saying is everything happens for a reason. So there you go.
Me too, me too.
So it is time. So I have this really it's usually okay. So it's this segment where I put my guests on the spot. So it's time for my redundant, because it's very redundant, fiery seat of heat, because it's fiery and it's hot and we're
Oh,
sitting. So why not?
okay, I can feel the
Oh,
flames.
trust me. Right. And this is nothing compared to. So, have you ever taken your comedy to a stage? And it doesn't have to be like a real stage, just anything you would call a stage, whether it's work, whether it's like outside in the street, whether you're in a club. Have you ever just like really stood up and like kind of put on your own performance that you feel, you know?
Yeah, during the writing workshop, yeah, I made fun of my name and my character and my height.
I love that. You see, there's no better comedy than making fun of yourself. That always makes people laugh.
This is the thing. I think it took them off guard. They didn't expect it.
Yeah, I'm sure they were like, okay, let's see what she comes up with. Let's see what this girl says. And you're just like, well, I'm going to talk about me.
Yeah.
Well, I always say for me, the world is my stage. It's terrible. It's terrible because so I use the podcast to be funny. I work, my workplace is where I showcase anything that I think is remotely funny. When I meet new people, I work in a doctor's office. So when I talk to patients, I just kind of, when I have conversations, I just try to slide funny in there all the time. And there's times where I'm just like, okay, that
Me
that
too.
hit, that worked. And then there are other times I'm just like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't use that one again. Or maybe just it just wasn't the
No,
right
trust me.
setting
I
for
do
that
this
one.
too. Me too. I have this too.
Listen, I don't even know. But I think if I go on like a real stage, see, at least you did a workshop. I try to do, I've attended several online improv classes and I've always had like cold feet when it's like my turn. I'm just like, well, I'm just gonna, and knowing me, if I try to step on stage, I'm just gonna go blank. I'm gonna go blank because it's my luck. And I think that would be funny within itself. I'm just like, all right, guys, sorry, I gotta go.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Now
And I
it's
drop the
your
mic and I
turn.
just run away because I'm so
You
awkward.
run.
And I like beeline and then I hit a wall because it's the wrong way. And then I try to find the exit. That I'm telling you, that would be me.
You
I
don't know
will
where.
tell you. I'm like, oh my God, this is a wall. Where am I going? Security, please help. And that would be my comedy skit.
This was part of Michelle's sketch. Everyone, oh, and they applaud you. Trust me.
I get a
It's the
standing
impression.
ovation. I would get a standing ovation and I would turn around and be like, guys, I literally did nothing. This is my real life. Like I'm trying to escape. I do not know where the exit is. Please help me. I
You're
know, and
just
people are
going
still
with your.
laughing. Right. And people are still
Yeah.
laughing and clapping. I'm like, someone call 911. I do not know where I am. Call emergency services.
And they're like stopping laughing. Seriously? This was not comedy.
Right. Right. Like, guys, this is my real life. Now I feel hurt. Honestly, in a nutshell, that would be me. All right.
Awesome.
So you survived the fiery seat. It wasn't too bad. I told you. You're good. You're so good. So
Thank you.
now I want to know what's in store for Jay. What are you working on right now or for the future?
Okay, firstly, I'm working on my new poetry book. It will be the third poetry book, and I'm working on my first nonfiction comedy essays. It's like inspired by all the crazy crap that I see every day, and I think I've written one essay, and I'm going for it. I really want to write it and finish it. Hopefully, 2023. I hope so.
Oh, that's exciting. You have to make sure you send me like all the links and
Are
everything
you
because,
serious? Definitely.
oh,
I'm
yeah.
curious to get your opinion on it. Seriously.
Oh, girl, if I even get through it, if I'm not laughing too hard,
I
because
hope so. Wow. I really
wait,
hope it will make you laugh. Seriously, because I
oh,
have a lot of crazy stuff there.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will because if your life was remotely close to anything like mine, we've had some really funny moments.
Yeah, yeah, maybe I can tell you that.
All right. Well, sadly, we've reached the end of the It's Me Shell podcast with our awesome guest, Jay. But before we go, I have to give you an opportunity to shout yourself out. So let la gente or the people of the It's Me Shell podcast know where they can follow, subscribe, and show you all love and support.
Okay, guys. Usually I post on Twitter, on Instagram, Jaylan Salman. You will have the handles or whatever. On theprose.com, I post most of my essays and most of my poetry. Also on my Facebook page, Jaylan Salman Writes. Please follow them. You'll find a lot of stuff, even the visual poetry that I do. It's all out there. Just watch and share, and I hope you get a laugh or whatever out of it.
Oh, that's amazing. And I'll make sure to post all the links to your poetry, your social media platforms, everything in the description because I want the It's Michelle tribe to read all your poetry, to show love, show support. It's the only way to grow out here. So you heard it, mi gente. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, rate, and review because we out here trying to make it and we can't make it without you. And make sure you follow me on Instagram at itsmi.chelle. Click the link in my bio. It will connect you to all my podcast platforms, my YouTube channel, and more. And make sure you click that subscribe button. This is like a tongue twister for me. That within itself is a problem. And click that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And with
Yeah.
that said, we'll see you next week. Peace and love. We out.
Peace and love, everybody. Mwah.
I see you. It's me. 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 Shell.